You guys are the real heroes. We're just glad we can help. Welcome to Eat, Sleep, Nerd, a podcast where you can check out, go AFK, and relax with us as we discuss all things nerd. Comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and anything else that gets geeks more worked up than Homelander at a VOT shareholder meeting.
Welcome to episode number 16. I'm Corey Winter, and as always, I am joined by my nerdy brother, Josh Winter, and our geeky friend, Jason Summer. In this episode, we are discussing pretty much everything Comic-Con. Like, there was so much coming out of Comic-Con. We're going to be talking about all of the Marvel Studios news, the Marvel Animation news, some DC news, some Star Trek news, and whatever else we feel like talking about. Plus, we're discussing some other random things, including... finally, Season 3 of The Boys in review and Miss Marvel in review.
Woot.
This is a jam-packed episode. We are putting off our peak geek debate for one more week because we just have a lot to talk about. So, Jason, Josh, how are you?
Oh.
Don't all go at once.
Right. Well, I was trying to be courteous, and Mr. Yeah. Still kind of recovering. It turns out I did have the COVID. So that explains a lot in the last couple of weeks. Still dealing with it, but I'm feeling a lot better this week. And as you can hear, I actually sound a lot better. Well, mostly better.
No, you don't. No.
Somewhat better.
You still sound like trash.
God. Anyway. But what it did do was give me time to catch up on some shows. And I gamed just a little bit. And
ooh, what were you gaming?
I started Cyberpunk 77.
2077. Nice.
Yeah.
Close enough. Yeah. Nice. Okay.
So I started that. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'm not.
It's a slow burn at first.
It feels like that.
Yeah.
I was actually kind of very surprised at the detail that you're allowed to have when setting up your character.
Yeah.
That was unexpected, to say the least. I won't discuss it here, but if you want to understand what I'm talking about,
the private bits.
Yeah, just look it up.
The no-no squares.
Yeah,
talk about the no-no squares. It's okay.
Anyway,
it's okay. We can talk about the no-no squares.
But yeah, anyway, so that's what I've been doing. So that's me. Not much exciting, but that was my week.
What about you, Josh? What were you doing in your off kid week?
Well, I work a lot during my non-kid weeks so that I can kind of phone it in during my kid weeks. But in my free time, I finally played, Square Enix's Avengers.
Yeah, I like how you played that instead of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, so I downloaded both, and I'm gonna be wholly honest with you. The biggest reason I didn't do Guardians is because I know how badly you want me to do Guardians.
Wow. Josh has always been like
contrarian.
Anti-bandwagon. Yeah, he is very contrarian.
I'm super, and like it doesn't matter how big the bandwagon is. It could be a one dude bandwagon, and I'm just gonna be like, nah, dude, screw that.
Is my seal of approval not good enough for you?
I mean, at this point, I feel like you've played it enough for 3 or 4 people, and I'm doing my part by not playing it.
Okay.
Anyway, I do want to say though that it took me like, how long has it been out? 2 years.
Yeah.
Is how long the Avengers game
probably,
has been out?
Probably
like
even longer than
2
that,
or 3.
Yeah.
So like, I get the hate. Like, it is definitely a game as a service game, but it's not bad. Like when you play as Iron Man, you feel like you're playing as Iron Man. When you play as Hulk, is it like the parts that it did well, it did really, really well. So I mean, I'm sure I'll finish it, and I'm sure as soon as we're done with the campaign, I'm over it. Like, I don't need to keep going. Like, I will not be one of the people who grind away just to get a skin. But like, it's for what it is. It's a good game. I will say I would not have bought it. I got it as part of the Xbox Live, but or Game Pass, is that what we're calling it? Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
So it was quote unquote free. But
yeah, I played it when it first came out, like on launch day. So I played it before any of their updates or anything to it, and it was fine. But I lost interest in it pretty fast. Like I doubt I even got halfway through it. But like I had just met Iron Man when I lost interest in it. So
it's when it starts getting good.
I figured as much, but I just never got back into it.
All right. Yeah. What about you? What have you been doing?
Well, I was planning to come onto this episode to do like a solo review of the new video game Stray.
Right.
And for those that don't know, Stray is a new action game, well, loosely based on action, where you basically play as a cat in a cyberpunk world, and you control a cat trying to get back to his family. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically a cat simulator with some action elements mixed in, and like for whatever reason, it's randomly in a cyberpunk world, and it's only about 2 hours or 5 hours long. And I was figuring I could just plow through that in like 2 days and then come do a review of it. But after 2 hours, I came back to do like my second session, and my save game was just gone. And like I had already earned some trophies on it, but like my trophies were gone.
Oh no.
So I don't know what happened. So I completely lost all my progress in my trophy progress on PlayStation. So I don't know what kind of glitch that was. So I have not picked it back up again because I don't want to have to do those first 2 hours all over again. So
yeah, that'll take your wind out of your sails real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's right.
So I did play Stray, but didn't finish it.
Well,
So-
what other than the big, issue of the saving fail, what do you think of it?
It was fun. I mean, obviously, you play as a cat, so like there's really no dialogue or anything. So it really is just all about the environment and the being a cat. But it was very beautiful, and it felt like you were playing as a cat. Like the controls were very natural for how you would feel like a cat would be. So like you can jump and meow on command and like randomly knock things over off of desks and stuff. So it was very fun, but it also just, as a dog dad, it made me want to have a game like this, but from the perspective of a dog. So hopefully that's in the pipeline at some point, but
So
it's a very fun game.
if I remember the trailers for this, there are no humans, right? It's all robots.
Yes. All robots and
Right.
cats.
All robots and cats.
Yeah.
Sounds like the perfect world.
And honestly, I would not normally be interested in this game, but because there's literally nothing else to play this year, I was like, this is the next best thing. So gave it a shot.
Yeah, there's something about post-apocalyptic scenarios that are just fascinating, whether it be, Stray. And you talking about that made me think of Horizon. It's 1,000 years in the future. You get to see how everything's like overgrown or reclaimed by nature.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something fascinating about an imagined version of what that could be, what that could look like.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like real life right now, because there's like no new games or
No.
movies or anything. So we're like, this is the
in a world
environment.
where there's no new games.
Yeah.
Everything is delayed.
Wait, delayed gratification? What? No.
All right, do you guys want to get into the news?
Let's do it. I'm ready. Engage.
All right, before we get into Comic-Con stuff, I want to hit a couple other stories that came out earlier in the week because I want to get your guys' takes on them. So the first thing that I am pretty sure will grind Josh's gears is the state of Netflix. So we already knew that Netflix was losing subscribers all the way back in late last year. And it came out that they were teasing the idea of introducing ads and stuff like that. And that they were actually going to partner with Microsoft to introduce an ad tier. Well, it came out last week that Netflix in Q2 of this year has lost another 1 million subscribers. And they are officially moving forward with the ad tier. And Josh, you noted that it came out that with this ad tier, they're actually teasing the idea of making the ad tier also limited content. So they won't actually get all the shows for this ad-supported tier.
Correct.
What's happening?
Correct. They are giving you commercials, and you don't even get everything that's on the thing.
What's happening with Netflix?
Wow.
It's dying. That is what is happening. It is dying.
Sounds like Warner Brothers has become in charge of Netflix.
No, it's everything. They are doing the opposite of everything they should be doing to keep their service afloat. So like this is people are calling it the Netflix bubble, and it's actually a very good terminology. If you look at what they spend acquiring shows and producing their own content relative to the amount of money they have coming in, they are operating at a massive deficit.
Yeah.
but they keep getting loans because it's Netflix. Their credit is in who they are. Same reason that like Tesla can get all the loans they want. They're technically not making that much money, but you believe in the product. You're willing to put the good faith into it. And I think that Netflix bubble is about to pop. And it's because they're so worried about getting new clients that they don't realize every decision they make is driving away the clients they already have.
Yes. So it is worth noting that during this financial report, Netflix projected that they will actually have a 1 million subscriber bounce back in the coming quarter, largely thanks to Stranger Things Season 4. Now, that seems like they're putting a lot of weight on Stranger Things. Like, that is not enough to keep their entire platform afloat.
No, you can't have one show keeping it afloat. Now, they're doing their best to stagger their shows. So, like, you won't see Stranger Things and The Witcher come out at the same time.
Well, you say that, but
you know what
they
I mean?
released Umbrella Academy and Stranger Things Season 4 at the exact same time.
Yeah. I don't think Umbrella Academy is going to get renewed.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm willing to bet that's going to be the next thing they announce is canceled.
Yeah, I barely heard any hype
because
around it this
again,
time.
yeah, and here's the thing though, it's still going to be one of their most watched shows, but they're going to cancel it because it doesn't bring in new subscribers. So again, you're going to get rid of one of the 3 shows that I watch on Netflix. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah, like the only show I haven't gotten to Stranger Things yet. I will eventually, but the one show I was using Netflix to watch was, what's it called? With Jason Bateman.
Ozark.
Yes, but Ozark is over now, so that show is not even a thing anymore. So I feel like Netflix has either canceled or finalized all the shows that actually have brought in new subscribers. And like Stranger Things is ending after one more season, right?
Correct. They've already announced that season 5 will be their last go round. And again, they're operating under the assumption that they still have a bunch of those comfort shows that they had when they first launched, like Friends and The Office and things. You know what I mean? Those ones that you get your subscription for just so you'd have some background noise while you're doing other stuff. They don't have any of those comfort shows anymore.
Yeah.
Because now all those shows are on the respective streaming services of their actual owners. And Netflix has not taken that into account. I could rant about this all day.
Yeah, I know. But so aside from Stranger Things, what have you guys watched on Netflix in the past, 3 months?
I've watched Disenchantment.
Okay.
And I'm actually getting ready to watch Umbrella Academy.
Okay.
I was going to say Umbrella Academy and Stranger Things are the only 2 things I've watched. And it is very worth noting that until they got their new seasons out, I had actually canceled my Netflix subscription because there was nothing on that I wanted to watch. I brought it back purely to get those done. And now that they're done, I'm letting it lapse. I'm not going to pay it.
Yeah.
I won't until The Witcher comes back around.
True. Oh, yeah, The Witcher.
But again, these are relatively short shows that are getting released. They don't do it all at once anymore, but they do it in chunks. So you get maybe 2 months out of me at most. It's not a sustainable plan.
Yeah, and they're trying with their original content too, like the Adam Project. You know, that was.
But even then, I feel like they're doing less and less original content. Like they used to announce a new movie or new show every couple of weeks, but now it's been like I don't hear about any new shows coming out.
No. Like I said, they are. I give Netflix 3 more years if they don't make drastic changes.
Like the Adam Project, like that's the last movie I can think of that I remember Netflix announcing as an original IP, and that was months ago.
That's a one and done thing. Like it might get a sequel, but I mean, like it's not a show. It's not something they can stagger the release. You know what I mean? As soon as you're done watching it, you're done.
And like I say that, I know Netflix had a plan. I think like either every week or every month this year, they are releasing a new original movie or series. But I guess there's no hype around any of them because I'm not hearing about them.
Wasn't The Gray Man? That looked...
Was that Netflix?
That was Netflix. No, it is... it's a Netflix production.
It is on Netflix. Interesting. Okay, so I've heard of that one.
But it's one. Your point's still there.
Point. Yeah, that's
your
one.
Point's still there.
That's one.
They're definitely not making good business decisions. First of all, they just jacked up their prices again. In the last 2 months, 3 months, they did that.
Something like that. Yeah.
To like $20 a month, which is, I think, it's exorbitant. And now they're moving to this ad tier that Josh is talking about, and it's limited to content.
And they're actually removing they're putting up more security around how you can actually share your account with people.
Yes, that was the other thing I was about to mention, is like they'll actually block you, or I guess charge you for sharing it outside your house or off of your Wi-Fi or something like that.
Yeah. So like it is the most expensive streaming service with the least to watch
and most
the most difficult, the most restrictive and frustrating account parameters.
Right.
That is a winning plan.
That was sarcastic. What Josh just said.
Now we say that, but as of this financial report, they actually still have over 200 million subscribers. It's like they're doing fine, but they do seem to be struggling. So
they're all bots.
How bots that are paying for it?
Yes.
I think they're the same bots that Zack Snyder was using.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that in a second. Before we get to that, let's actually talk about a streaming service that's doing all of the correct things. So Disney Plus, we have often praised them for being the unofficial home of geekdom. But they're doing even more things to make us happy. So recently they announced, and actually have already added these movies to the library, Deadpool 1 and 2 and Logan. Obviously famous for being R-rated movies. They are on Disney Plus now.
These are hard R movies.
Yeah.
Now, it is worth noting that this sort of content has been available on Disney Plus everywhere except for the US pretty much since its launch. It was only super family friendly in the US. So,
well, anyway, they're embracing our content, mature content, and they're also embracing Doctor Who. So,
right.
Reports have come out that Disney is actually approaching the BBC to get the streaming rights to new episodes of Doctor Who. So basically, Disney wants, as new episodes air on the BBC overseas, they also want the episodes to air simultaneously on Disney Plus, which has really just never been done before. Like, BBC is really the only way you can watch new episodes of Doctor Who. And it's worth noting, BBC did not approach Disney for this. Disney wants the rights to this. So Disney knows how big of a property Doctor Who is, and they want to embrace it. So that's awesome. I love that.
I like how you use the term embrace instead of annex or conquer. Acquire, right.
They just went on over there and just Russia Doctor Who out of it.
Right. God.
Now, it's worth noting this negotiations are still open, so there's no deal yet. It's all still in the works. So it might not happen, but...
Who has the current back catalog? It's HBO Max, right?
Ooh. I know it used to be Netflix, and then I believe it was on Hulu.
It's HBO.
It is HBO Max.
It's okay, because I love hearing the magic words. Say it. Say it.
HBO Max.
Say the words. The phrase he wants to hear.
Josh was correct about where to find these episodes of. Is that not
through the day?
Josh was right.
But yeah, my complaint with Doctor Who has always been it's so hard to catch new episodes if you don't have the BBC channel, which is actually pretty hard to get nowadays because cable companies suck. So I really hope this comes through because I would like to actually catch new episodes of Doctor Who as they air. So thank you, Disney Plus. You're awesome. Make it do. All right. So getting back to the Zack Snyder thing, a report has come out that I know is going to trigger Josh.
I'm fine.
Rolling Stone is reporting that a significant portion of fake Twitter accounts fueled the Release the Snyder Cut movement. As many as 13% of all accounts that participated in the movement were bot accounts.
Okay, so I got 2 points to retort this with. One is you can't believe the liberal media. And number 2,
Is Rolling Stone liberal?
I mean, like, just from a completely unbiased standpoint, it varied. But number 2, that is still a way lower percentage than makes up Twitter in general. So technically, we're playing above average here.
Well, for what it's worth, I completely supported Release the Snyder Cut, and I wasn't on any social media supporting it. So some of these bots represented me. So thank you.
I guess it wasn't a bot.
I guess it wasn't specifically Twitter. It could have been. I guess it was referring to pretty much any social network.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was largely a Twitter thing, though. Like that's
like most trending things are. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I fully believe that. Like it's I do. Like it's especially that number. That's a fairly reasonable number, I would say. Just over 10%. Like, okay, a shocker, but that means 90% of all those hashtags were from real people who really did.
That's my thing. Like, it was still a vastly majority amount of people were actually humans. Like, it's yeah.
Like I said, I hadn't heard the number until you said it. That number is actually way lower than I thought it was going to be. I was waiting for like 70% of all the Release the Snyder Cut dorks were actual robots. So I mean, like, that's
hey, I feel attacked.
Movie. Yeah,
it was 13% on this Snyder Cut movement that were deemed fake, which is actually well above the 3 to 5% that cyber experts say they typically see on any trending topic.
Yeah, so we're tech savvy. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
So my question
services are available as a spin doctor. If anyone wants to.
Yeah, Josh would be the one out of the 3 of us.
Yeah.
It was. Now, were these bots, were they attributed to being run by Zack Snyder and his team, or just bots in general?
No,
they said that Zack Snyder encouraged them, but he was not like in charge of them. Like, he was well aware there were bot accounts that were trending the topic, but he was going along with it.
Okay,
because he wanted his movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why not? Like, take what you can get, bro. He got boned over in the first place.
That's
he has to do a little bit of boning to get his chance. Like, that's, who cares?
Well, I think, it really highlights, I think, one of the inherent problems with the entertainment industry that's really driven by fans right now. Stories and direction of plot lines, they're being changed and swayed by trending, Twitter hashtags, or by what's on Facebook or whatever. And these production companies are allowing essentially the fans to dictate where the stories go in real time. And I think this is kind of a byproduct of that, where where Zack Snyder or whomever realizes that, the production companies can be manipulated in this way. So it's kind of not surprising that we're seeing stuff like this.
#NotAbot t-shirts will be available on the store. Let us know what sizes we should have posted.
Yeah, our store, which has been up, for no weeks yet.
I keep throwing out ideas, and they're all bangers. So, like, we just got to get it done.
Right. It's like, I'm more of an idea guy. Corey, can you get on that?
It just sounds like a lot of work, but sure.
I was elected to.
No, I was. That was.
Read.
We were joking.
I'm not. #NotAbot. You can pick your size and your color.
Making promises we aren't sure we can keep. All right, let's move into Comic-Con. So before we get into the DC, Marvel, Star Trek stuff, let's start with a couple of the just random standalone movies that we find interesting. So Jason, let's start with Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
I saw this trailer. One of my friends posted it on Facebook, actually, before I saw it, that it was actually at Comic-Con. And then, of course, it's at Comic-Con. I'm like, oh, great, we can talk about it. Dungeons and Dragons, this trailer looks so much fun. Chris Pine apparently plays the ringleader for this group of travelers, group of thieves. And the graphics look pretty great. They've incorporated some rock music. It feels very much like a Zack Snyder movie. It's not, though, but it feels like one. And I think if you watch to the very end, you've got your different classes of characters in Dungeons and Dragons, and I think Chris Pine's character is a bard,
Yeah.
which I think is great. Yeah. They show him playing the lute. So
yes,
anyway, so I'm excited about that. So
Chris Pine is playing a bard. Michelle Rodriguez is playing a barbarian. I have a few names I don't recognize, but also Hugh Grant is playing a rogue.
Checks out.
And several other people.
Yes.
But, So looks like a fun movie. Comes out in March 2023, so March of next year.
Yeah, I had no idea this was coming. This was a surprise to me. Like, I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, neither did I.
Oh.
This is serving as a reboot to the film series that came out between 2000 and 2012.
I was going to say, this is not the first one, and the other ones were not good. Like,
so it is
they're
fresh
pretty
start.
universally panned. Yeah.
I did not know that they were a thing. So, okay.
That's how panned they were.
Yeah, they were not particularly great. Seems like they're going to do like a service to the fan base, because even I have a cursory knowledge of Dungeons and Dragons where I could kind of hold a conversation with people who do play it. And I know that there are certain things that are they are inherently Dungeons and Dragons. And one of the things is something called a gelatinous cube, which is like some creature that's pretty well known in Dungeons and Dragons. And that was shown in the trailer, a gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
And just things like that. I'm like, oh, they might get this right.
Yeah. I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons, but I guess I'll watch it. All right. Next movie that kind of stands alone by itself is John Wick 4. Has gotten a new trailer and an official release date of March 24 of next year. And so before we even talk about just what we saw in the trailer, Keanu Reeves has said in an interview that he will keep making John Wick movies until the fans stop wanting them. So
John Wick 37.
Yeah. I love him so much.
I guess he's back.
So yeah, I guess I'm back. Yeah.
Yeah. So the trailer, obviously it's John Wicky. He's off killing people. At the end of the trailer, he's actually smashing someone's face in with nunchucks. So
I was gonna say we're going full ninja on this one. Yeah, we're going full ninja. He's got nunchucks and he's got katanas and he's got like, oh man, it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be cool. They keep thinking up new genres of killing people, and it is just great. No, we watched it at work, like on the big screen.
The trailer,
and just the trailer. And it was like, that Key and Peele sketch where they're just standing outside the movie theater or outside the valet parking. They just geek out about movies and everything. It was just like that. Like, we were so excited. And I mean, and it's over nothing, but it's John Wick is popcorn film at its finest.
It is.
And it's just, it's worth being excited about. And wasn't it supposed to come out like a year ago? 2 years ago?
It was supposed to come out, like originally when Matrix 4 was announced, it was announced to come out on the same day as John Wick 4. So it was supposed to be like the Keanu
it was going to be Keanu Day. We were going to go see both on the same day. Yeah.
But then it got delayed. So now it's coming out next year.
COVID.
Yeah, they probably got to look at the Matrix Resurrections and said, we should probably wait.
This is
and not get associated.
This is worth distancing ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Best defense is to create distance. Just saying.
My favorite nugget of this is that so this trailer was a surprise drop at Comic-Con. And it was actually Keanu Reeves actually crashed Collider's Directors on Directing panel to show off this trailer. Like, he just randomly showed up and showed off this trailer. So I love Keanu. He's a treasure.
He is. Sweet man.
He's come a long way from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Death.
All right, let's get into DC. Unfortunately, DC usually has like one of the bigger panels, but this time they didn't really have anything to show off. We got a new trailer for Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Dwayne Johnson showed up in Black Adam costume to talk about the movie. But aside from that, there wasn't much to talk about.
It's because their house is burning down.
Yeah. There were a couple of little tidbits that came out actually from other panels, not even from the DC Studios panel. Jim Lee, a legendary comic book artist and CCO of DC Comics, has confirmed that there are no plans for Zack Snyder to return to making movies for the DC universe. Yeah, which is, to be expected, I guess, at this point. But Zack Snyder apparently does still have a relationship with DC because he will be guest starring in Teen Titans Go, of all places.
Is it like as a voice?
Yeah, but it'll be like Zack Snyder, the character, and he'll be voicing himself.
Oh, cool.
That's kind of funny. That's cute.
Yeah, Teen Titans Go is fun to watch if you haven't watched it.
Did they bring up the Flash at all?
Not that I know of. I've not seen a single thing about the Flash mentioned from DC's panel. And it should be worth noting for those that are not familiar, these panels are not streamed at all. It's like if you're not there, you don't actually see what's happening. So you just rely on people that were actually there to report on it. And I was following all these accounts, including IGN and like people that were actually there in person. I didn't see a single mention of the Flash. It's also worth noting that despite the hype and buzz that was coming out that Henry Cavill would show up and make a surprise appearance at the DC panel, he did not.
You know what's funny? Is after their panel was done, hashtag Henry Cavill was trending, but all the things that they tried to get you to talk about were not trending. Shazam was not trending. Black Adam was not trending. The actors involved were not trending. Henry Cavill was trending, though.
It's a sad state of affairs over there at WBDC.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Rest in peace. So let's talk about a studio that actually knows what they are doing, Marvel. Woo. So we're actually going to talk about two different chunks of Marvel. So let's start with the animation side of things.
Woo.
So even on the animation side of things, they are ramping up their efforts to give us more content. So they have their own like animation panel that's outside of the live action Marvel Studios panel. And they talked about 4 series that actually kind of stood out to me. They probably talked about more, but these are the ones that stood out. Spider-Man Freshman Year, an upcoming original series, obviously based on Spider-Man, that's coming to Disney+. Some things about it, Tom Holland will not be voicing Spider-Man, but it is set in the MCU. I will go back to that in a second. Charlie Cox will actually be voicing Daredevil in this show.
Okay.
A second season called Sophomore Year has already been greenlit, so they're pretty confident that this is going to be an awesome show. But yes, so it is in the MCU. They came out and said that Spider-Man Freshman Year is an animated series that follows Peter Parker on his way to becoming Spider-Man in the MCU, with a journey unlike we've ever seen and a style that celebrates the character's early comic book roots. So
I have questions.
The interesting thing, yes, I have questions too. Is it actually going to be canon, though? Because...
No, I think it's MCU.
Okay, you know what?
I'm just...
So the reason I ask if it's actually going to be canon to the MCU is because he actually does interact with people like Norman Osborn and obviously Daredevil, which we have not seen on screen yet. But this all takes place prior to the MCU. So how does that actually make sense story-wise?
Because we're in the middle of the multiverse saga.
Whoa.
The multiverse saga.
Well, I was also thinking, if we just don't hit on any storylines that have already been hit on, it doesn't really matter.
The points are made up and the rules don't matter.
But like it's him leading up to his MCU story. So like how does... It's supposed to be basically a prequel. But like how is it a prequel?
Right.
If there's very obviously things in here that have not lined up with his story in the MCU.
Yeah, it's just going to be
I don't know.
Contradictory. It's going to be hard to mesh in.
It's like it's using maybe elements from the MCU, but it's not actually like canon.
I don't know either.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. It is debuting on Disney Plus in 2024. So it's actually going to be a little bit of a wait, but something to look forward to.
Is Marissa Tomei, is she coming back to voice?
No, the only voice that's been confirmed is Charlie Cox as Daredevil.
Okay.
They're trying to get everything they can out of that dude right now, aren't they?
I mean,
but he's so happy. He is. You could tell he's happy, and we're happy for him.
I just feel like the selling point at every single announcement was, oh yeah, and Charlie Cox is going to play Daredevil.
Yeah, in my mind, when they say that, the gavel hits and goes, sold.
Yeah, like just we're bringing you a show about the janitorial staff at Stark Tower. Okay. Oh, and Charlie Cox is going to play Daredevil.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next show from Animation Studios, Marvel Zombies. And this one's noteworthy because it will be TVMA airing on Disney+. The lineup of characters includes Yelena, Kate Bishop, Red Guardian, Jimmy Woo, Death Dealer, Shang-Chi, and Kamala Khan. So a pretty cool lineup of superheroes that will be fighting the undead versions of Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, Ghost, Abomination, Captain Marvel. So that's pretty cool that Disney Plus is embracing that.
Oh, goody.
We're also getting a revival of X-Men 97.
There you go, Jason.
Well, see, I wasn't a fan of the X-Men in the 90s. Jason. Yeah, I didn't watch those cartoons. And I think my brother was a big fan, but I didn't watch them. So
based on my age, I was supposed to be, but right. I just never watched it.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have, like, in passing.
I know about it and I'm aware of it just through osmosis with my generation, but I don't think I ever sat down and watched X-Men.
I also recognize how important and significant it is, and I'm happy for them and for people who are excited about it and that they're doing this. It's just not something that was on my radar back in the day, really.
Yeah. So it is a revival of the original series. It is coming out fall 2023, but it is the first official X-Men project at Marvel Studios since Disney acquired the rights to X-Men. So that's pretty cool. And one final animation thing is that season 2 of What If is revolving around Hela, Odin versus the Mandarin, Captain Carter, and so on. And a third season is already in the works.
I like that. I liked What If a lot.
It's actually the reason we're getting Marvel Zombies is because there was so much hype around that Zombies episode of What If season 1. So they just made a whole show about it. So,
yeah,
that's Marvel Animation.
And that's just their animation.
Do you guys want to get into the live action stuff? This is where the meaty stuff comes in. So, starting with She-Hulk. So let's start with like current Phase 4 stuff we already know about. So She-Hulk is coming up in August. And the big thing coming out from Comic-Con is that Daredevil is officially making an appearance in She-Hulk.
And he's played by Charlie Cox.
In his OG yellow and red suit. I don't know if you guys noticed that or not.
I did see that.
It is the yellow and red suit.
Yeah, I did see that.
Now this was a surprise because we previously knew about him appearing in Echo and obviously his own series, but we did not know about him appearing in She-Hulk.
Although it is worth noting that we joked about it.
Yeah, like we obviously She-Hulk is a lawyer. He's a lawyer. It makes sense.
Yeah, and Kev listens to our podcast. So
yeah, like this is a lot sooner of an appearance than we were expecting. Like we were thinking next year we'll see him, but like he's coming up as soon as August, which is pretty cool.
It's nice to see such a popular character and a popular actor being brought into the fold with the MCU and Disney. And they're just really doubling down on it, and I'm here for it. I'm totally on board. So I'm really glad they're doing this with him.
So that's really all that came out with She-Hulk because it is coming up pretty soon. Just we know that Daredevil is going to be in there somewhere. The next big thing. So we kind of have a slightly clearer picture of what Phase 5 and 6. Yes, Phase 5 and 6, they are officially separate phases now. We know that Phase 4, which you're currently in right now, through Phase 6 will be officially known as the Multiverse Saga, which we kind of assumed it would be because we have had a lot of multiverse elements, but it is officially the Multiverse Saga. It will be stretching us all the way through November 2025. So Phase 4 ends later this year with, what's that movie coming out? Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever. That is the last Phase 4 movie. Phase 5 starts in spring 2023, stretches through July 2024, so it'll take about a year. Then Phase 6 starts in fall 2024 with the Fantastic Four movie, which we'll talk about in a second, and it'll stretch through November 2025 with a Avengers team-up movie, which we'll talk about in a second. So Phase 5, we knew a lot of these movies existed already, but we didn't have any like dates or anything. So we do have some official dates now. Phase 5 will kick off with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium, which is Ant-Man 3. Then it will go into Secret Invasion, which is the Nick Fury show. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Echo, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Blade, Ironheart, Agatha, Daredevil, Born Again, Captain America, New World Order, and ending in July 2024 with Thunderbolts, which had been heavily rumored. So it's
Now
officially official.
announced.
Right.
Yes. Daredevil. We knew that he was getting his own series, but we didn't really know anything about it. It's officially titled Daredevil Born Again. It's airing in spring 2024, and it's an 18-episode first season, which is far more than other Disney Plus MCU shows have been. So that's pretty awesome.
I agree. Now, are these going to be like 30-minute episodes?
It has
or
to be
hour
an hour,
episodes?
right?
Because
It
that's
has to
going to make a
I'm
difference.
going to say it's got to be an hour.
Does it?
Now, to be fair, Obi-Wan was an hour long. It was only 6 episodes, and he had to rescue Leia 7 times. So I'm going to say that 18 episodes is a good thing if they use it correctly.
And even if it was half-hour episodes, it would still be math. 9 episodes.
Essentially 9 episodes.
So,
which puts us right back pretty much where we're used to.
I feel like with the live action drama, that has to be an hour long.
I hope so. I mean, just something to think about.
Some other things coming out is that obviously Vincent D'Onofrio is coming back to be Kingpin, but also, oh goodness, this name, Ayelet Zurer is officially coming back as Vanessa, which was Kingpin's girlfriend in the original series. So it's nice that she's coming back.
Yeah, I actually liked them as a couple, as a weird criminal couple. I thought they worked really well together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really nice when people find each other. It's just real sweet.
Okay. So obviously Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Wait. And Charlie Cox will be playing Daredevil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something if like he makes all these other appearances than Daredevil in the Daredevil series with somebody else?
That would be so done.
Plot twist. It's Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. I would watch
still
the crap
watch
out of that.
Watch the crap out.
All right, this is where we're going to get into some speculation. So Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium. We did not know much about it, but we do have a new poster. Some secret footage was shown at Comic-Con. It has not been released publicly yet. But we do have a new poster where King, the Conqueror, is on the poster. King will be in Ant-Man 3. What does this mean?
No, wrong. You're mixing franchises again.
Oh, my bad, guys. My bad, guys.
The poster also does show that Casey Lang, so Ant-Man's daughter, will be suiting up as an Ant-Man ant person.
Ant person.
I don't know.
Cool.
Also,
She-Ant.
Bill Murray will be co-starring.
What?
Bill Murray, I will say again, will be co-starring in Ant-Man 3. That's all we know about it.
All right.
So this leads directly into the next thing. MODOK.
Is he playing MODOK?
I want him to be MODOK so badly.
I can see it.
I'm just saying. Because it's probably going to be like a one-off. You know, they slip into some other weird universe that's just weird enough to have MODOK, and it's voiced by Bill Murray. I didn't know I wanted it until now, but I want it. The character is a head. It's just a head. It's a head with arms and legs. Like, that is Bill Murray.
Would it be too ridiculous if it was Bill Murray?
I was kind of thinking that.
You're right. I could take that so seriously without it being Bill Murray. It's not a character that lends itself to credulity.
True.
Credulity. God.
So what the heck is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium actually about?
Well, I would imagine that they get stuck in the quantum realm, which allows them to not only slip through time, but into alternate universes.
So like, is this actually where the multiverse conundrum actually kicks off? Because we got the tease in other movies, but like nothing really happened. So it kind of seems like maybe Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium actually might be where their multiverse actually kind of falls apart.
So I do think it's worth noting that this was actually one of the first projects announced post Endgame.
Yes.
So it would actually be incredibly logical if this is where the plot really gets going, because it's probably been written longer than a lot of these other shows and movies that have already come out.
Mm-hmm.
So they may have been just kind of stepping stones while we get to this, to where it really starts going.
Anyway, so Kang is showing up in Ant-Man 3. That's actually coming out in spring of next year. To be specific, it would be February? Sure, of next year. All right, so Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Wait, question.
What?
Will Charlie Cox be playing Daredevil? Even if I don't see him, I just want to know that that's what's happening.
I guess I can say yes, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
Maria Bakalova is playing Cosmo in Guardians of
the Galaxy 3
out.
Coming out next year. Cosmo the dog is finally showing up. I was wondering if he was ever going to show up, but it's actually being voiced by Maria Bakalova. I don't know how to say her name.
It's obviously Baklava.
No, it's Bakalova.
It's definitely Baklava. It is worth noting that Cosmo had a cameo in one of the Guardians movies, as well as in the final battle against Thanos. You can actually see him coming out of one of the portals.
True that. Also, showing up in this movie is High Evolutionary, being played by, please help me with this name,
Chukwudi Iwuji.
Oh, that's the dude from Peacemaker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Which I really enjoyed him in Peacemaker.
So he actually showed up at Marvel's panel in full costume and roasted the entire audience. It was in character. It was fantastic. If you have not seen the footage, I encourage you to go look it up. I will link to it in the show notes. But so yeah, High Evolutionary is going to be in this movie, playing a huge role. It's actually discovered that he is the person that invented Rocket.
Dope.
Really?
So that the movie will be focusing heavily on Rocket's origin story and how he had that tragic upbringing where he was like created to be a monster. And apparently it's going to be a very emotional movie, obviously, because it will be the last Guardians movie. So this is the final time we're going to be seeing this team, which really sucks. I love these movies. But there is speculation that Rocket might not make it. So I'm not sure I can handle that. So
I know, it's like killing the dog. You just don't do that.
God.
So I really hope that's not the case.
We're going to completely old yeller Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Well, Guardians is kind of known for those like emotional character send-offs, like in Guardians 2, if you have not seen it. Spoilers, but
no, Yondu, like 6 years ago.
Yondu was killed off, and like that was
AKA Mary Poppins.
Yes. I still cry every time I see that scene because it was really well done.
It was good. It was well done. Yes.
Yeah, the Guardians is known for pulling out those heartstrings, so that'll probably be the case with this movie.
Honestly, it really got to me when David Hasselhoff showed up. That's when I lost it. No.
So yeah, the cast was on stage to show off this movie, and apparently they did get emotional. So, not ready for that. All right, Secret Invasion. What?
Charlie Cox will be playing Daredevil.
You know what? He might be there. Who knows? All right. So Secret Invasion, one of the upcoming Disney Plus shows that will be featuring Nick Fury. Finally, we have not gotten enough Nick Fury in recent years. But Nick Fury is getting his own show, Secret Invasion. Colby Smulders was on stage to show off new footage of it. And apparently it's going to be very dark. Colby Smulders says that this is going to be a darker show. Apparently, this is a Nick Fury that we have not seen before. Beard and all.
Is he a bad mother shut your mouth?
Probably. So it is coming to Disney Plus in spring 2023.
Sweet.
Mother flirkin'. So what's the big deal about Secret Invasion? Why is this something that the MCU has chosen to focus on?
So in the comics, Secret Invasion was neat because they used it as an opportunity for not only a massive crossover, but also for a soft reboot of several of their lines. But the premise behind it was S.H.I.E.L.D. discovers that a lot of important people, including some of our favorite heroes, have actually been imposters, and that they were actually Skrulls in disguise.
which we saw a little bit of in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, they teased that, and then it just kind of went quiet for a few movies. And so this would be the only thing I'm worried about is it's going to kind of be like what they did with Civil War, where it should have been huge and had massive repercussions, but it kind of ended up being scaled down.
Mm-hmm.
I think especially since we just murdered pretty much all the OG characters or retired them. Like, I don't know how impactful it can really be.
Right. Whether they retired or they died or they got a horrible movie.
So like,
they're all gone.
So that's the downside. That's the part that, like, I'm worried that compared to the comics, it's going to be a little kind of soft. On the flip side, especially knowing what Miss Smolders said, if they do it the same way they did, like with Winter Soldier, and really lean into the espionage and make it like a thriller, who can you trust? And it's got Sam, Mother F. Jackson.
That's what made Captain America: The Winter Soldier so awesome. Was it did kind of have that espionage thriller?
Yeah, they made a thriller movie that happened to have Captain America in it. I think it's going to be a neat show that is inspired by a popular run of the comics. People who are expecting a literal translation are going to be really disappointed, and that's okay. At this point, they need to let that go. But if Sam Jackson does not yell that he's tired of these mother flipping Skrulls on this mother flipping planet, I'm going to be pissed, though.
So in the comics, though, the Skrulls were bad guys.
The ones perpetrating the invasion.
Or were they misunderstood aliens? No, the ones, like they were in
the ones doing the invasions were definitely
Captain Marvel.
Not okay. But I mean, like, you can say the same thing about people, right? Like, there's good people and bad people.
Fair enough.
All right, so that's really the only new details that came out from
where am I
from Phase 5 of the MCU. Really, we just got some dates. So Blade is officially coming out November 3rd of 2023. Ironheart is airing fall 2023. Captain America has a new subtitle. Captain America 4 is New World Order. So obviously it will be Anthony Mackie this time around. That's airing May 3rd of 2024. And then Thunderbolts officially is airing July 25, maybe? I can't actually read that, of 2024. So, Fantastic Four.
Woo!
So we previously knew that there would be a Fantastic Four movie, but we didn't really know when. So it is officially airing or debuting November of 2024. Kevin Feige was on stage to actually show off the timeline of Phase 6. So there are several movies that are planned out, but they have not been given titles or anything. We just know the dates. And so the theory is that they will be announcing all of these actual movies at Disney's D23 conference. But we do know of Fantastic Four and the next two Avengers movies. So we don't have a team up at all happening in Phase 5 or Phase 4, but we do have two team ups of the Avengers happening in Phase 6 in May 2025 and November 2025. So two Avengers movies within, 6 months of each other?
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's
so we have Avengers, The Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. So people have been begging for this basically since we got Spider-Man No Way Home, because it is very big on the multiverse storyline. And the running theory is that this is the perfect opportunity for Tobey Maguire to come back and play Spider-Man, which is the only reason I'm looking forward to it. So, because that'd be awesome.
All right. Can I make a long distance prediction? Long distance call?
Yes.
Okay. So we're getting two Avengers movies months apart. So I think it is one of two things. Either A, we're going to have two different teams that are having to deal with two different things at the same time, or Kang Dynasty involves the multiverse being shattered and then subsequently put back together. And just when they think that it is done and they've defeated Kang, it ends up being like in Secret Wars, where Dr. Doom, who has been introduced in Fantastic Four, is the ruler of the reassembled world. And now they got to take out Dr. Doom back to back.
Isn't it the Dark Avengers?
That tied in Secret Wars. Well, one of the more
because he was the leader of the Dark Avengers,
but
right?
in Secret Wars, it was kind of that thing where the multiverse shattered and then they reassembled it, and Doctor Doom, who ended up essentially being a god, assembled Battle World, which is pretty much just a smash up of every universe just on one big continent. And he made himself God King and kind of reshaped the world as he saw fit. So it would be interesting. So I don't know. I'm doing a long distance call.
Okay.
Or my theory is that in the King Dynasty, the first Marvel or the first Avengers movie of these two, your idea holds true for my theory, where the multiverse kind of falls apart completely. And in the Secret Wars, all of these superheroes from different universes are coming together, and they kind of win, but not really, because at the end of it, it's kind of going to be like a reboot of the MCU where they have a fresh start because the multiverse completely fell apart.
Oh, and that's how they can bring back all their classic characters and read everything. Oh, we could get Tom Cruise's Iron Man then.
He might be too old by then.
I'm still hanging on to this dream.
But anyway, so Kevin Feige had that writing retreat a couple months ago. It looks like it worked out well because we basically have movies lined up for the next 3 years, plus TV shows. We will likely have more details on what these movies in Phase 6 will be coming later this year when they have the D23 conference. Some theories, I think they will announce the Fantastic Four cast. John Krasinski, I bet will be there.
We hope.
I think we'll probably get some more info on Deadpool 3 and probably X-Men. Oh, maybe something else. All right. Well, that's Marvel. That was Comic-Con. They had a lot to talk about, but as Josh kind of pointed out, they didn't really announce anything new. So I will give you that. It was really just...
I was the Debbie Downer when Corey was texting us all the things that they announced. I was like, this is cool and this is exciting. They didn't really give us any new information. They gave us some release dates. They gave us some titles for things, and they gave us Charlie Cox. Aside from that, which again we knew was coming. So
I know it got me hyped up because it did give us a clearer picture of what to expect in the next couple of years.
I think they did what they needed to do, which was to let people know there is a plan, that this will come together, because that's the biggest criticism right now. Is quality of individual products aside, individual projects. The biggest concern has been we're 50 hours into the new saga, and we don't know what's going on.
Yeah. All right. So finishing up our Comic-Con coverage, there was a Star Trek panel.
Woo!
And is that just your Star Trek woo, or
yeah?
Like every time I mention Star Trek, you
woo.
It's so loud.
And why
okay. I don't know. All right, so a few things were announced. Nothing groundbreaking, except for maybe one thing. But one thing that they announced was that for the first time, the entire catalog of Star Trek shows is now on Paramount Plus in the U.S.
And movies. Everything.
Well, yes.
If it has ever been a thing, it is on there. I'm slowly making my way through it.
Of course you are. Mm-hmm. All right. Some potentially groundbreaking news. I don't know. Maybe it was expected or not. I've not watched this show. But Picard, the upcoming season, is the final season. Yeah, this was the first time I saw it advertised as that.
Same.
Was at Comic-Con. So, I mean, I think that's good. I think it's better to end it before it just feels unnecessary, because a lot of people argued it was unnecessary in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think doing a neat 3 before people get tired of it, that's probably smart.
So, Jason, you've been watching this show. Does this make you sad?
I felt more attached to the characters this time, or if I felt more attached to the arcs, the story arcs, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good Star Trek filler, but and as much as I like the Captain Picard character and Patrick Stewart, it's been kind of an unbridled meh for me. So,
okay. All right. So also in the Star Trek realm of things, a couple of Strange New World things. So the first one is just I just like that this came up. So Anson Mount was at the Star Trek panel, and he confirmed that Pike's Peak, is the first thing on the call sheet for when they're filming. So
what does that even mean?
I don't know. I guess they treat it as its own character.
They just know it's important. Yep.
And he did confirm it's all thanks to the fantastic hair team on the Star Trek Strange New Worlds film crew. So
it's got to be someone's full-time job. It's just keeping that thing wrangled. Yeah.
So Star Trek Strange New Worlds is having a crossover episode with Star Trek Lower Decks. So Lower Decks is an animated show. Strange New Worlds is a live action show. This episode is apparently going to blend live action and animation in season 2 of Strange New Worlds. How?
So see, the funniest thing about all of this is that my first thought was not that when they announced the crossover. My first thought was, well, Lower Decks takes place around the same time as the Next Generation. So they're
exactly.
By 100 years.
I was with you on that one. That's right. That's where I was at.
So to me, that's the weird part.
That's the weird part.
Yeah, it's not that they're gonna Who Framed Roger Rabbit this episode, because they pretty much said that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna mix animation and as that to me is not weird. The weird part was, well, how are we gonna bridge this 100-year gap? So as if time travel is unusual in Star Trek.
They never use that in Star Trek.
That's a cop out,
right?
But anyway, so that's yeah. So that's the crossover episode will be a part of Strange New Worlds season 2, but Star Trek's Lower Decks season 3 premieres August 25th, so next month.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, Dad, I know you're listening. We gotta get you caught up on Lower Decks so that you know what's going on.
Well, good luck with that. Mm-hmm. All right, so that wraps up our Comic Con coverage for this year.
I mean, it's good to see. I mean, Marvel and Disney clearly dominated the discussions, but it was good to see some other things kind of, coming to the forefront for a little bit, like Dungeons and Dragons, Star Trek. That's good. It's good to see people enjoying and looking forward to Star Trek again, like on a large scale. I mean, a lot of people,
unless you're William Shatner and not enjoying it at all.
You know what? William Shatner, I mean,
he was very
Kirk,
clear.
But,
he was very clear when he said there were some shows that he feel like would, quote, make Gene Roddenberry spin in his grave. Mm. So I think he was heavily implying that all of them except for Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, anything after the original series and their movies until Strange New Worlds.
All right, let's get into our spoiler-filled review segment of our show. We're not talking about Star Trek or Star Wars or Marvel. Actually, I guess we kind of are talking about Marvel.
Oh, we are talking about Marvel.
Kind of forgot about that. All right, so do you want to start with The Boys Season 3 or Miss Marvel Season 1?
Let's get Marvel out of the way.
Wow.
All right, so Miss Marvel, we did not review this episode by episode. We were just kind of saving ourselves time to watch so much all at once. So we have all kind of watched this series in the past week. And we're going to review Season 1 as a whole. Let's actually start with scores and then actually use that to back up our thoughts about the show. Okay. So who wants to go first?
I'll go. I'm giving it a 4.25.
Wow. Okay. I am going to give it a 3 out of 5.
I echo that sentiment. Three interdimensional bracelets out of 5.
All right. So, Jason, since you have liked this show the most, why? What did you take away from this show?
I try not to get on tangents of like what a show or what something can mean from just a cultural perspective or from anything other than entertainment, because that's why we do this, because we're entertained. But I couldn't help feeling that this show was really important as an exploration of something other than a mainstream family or mainstream existence. I would say that most viewers live in. And I really appreciated I would call it an education in a culture that I knew nothing about, and some history that I knew nothing about. The partition in the 1940s for India and Pakistan, a Muslim family dynamic, or even introducing mythology from that part of the world into the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Marvel Universe. So these things were all like, for me, they were like really important. And I would say that they weighed heavily more than any other shows for me that we've watched in Marvel. And so that actually lent itself to the scores. And I'll admit it and I'll say it, but to me, it was important. And I really found myself enjoying things like Kamala Khan's brother's wedding. Like I really enjoyed seeing all the ceremony and all the, you know, how different it was. And where they flew to Karachi in Pakistan, and, you know, and how they showed that city, and just, you know, just the different culture. Anyway, so for me, it was kind of like a cultural education, and I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the fact that for the first time that I can remember, that we had a stable family behind a superhero.
That was one of my big takeaways too.
Right.
Go on.
So, no dead parents.
Right. Yeah. No dead. In fact, once her mom found out that she was Miss Marvel, she was on board and helped her.
That actually was one of my big notes. I'm glad you said it first. Is that once they found out, they were actually very supportive of her being a superhero, and that's something I don't think we've ever actually seen in a superhero story. So I'm glad you picked up on that too.
Yeah. I think that there was an effort here, though, to kind of give an introduction to what I guess people outside these communities experience or don't experience, just kind of a flavor of what the Muslim Islamic family community is like, to a degree. And I appreciated that. Like there was a lot there for me, that was my big takeaway from this series. I did enjoy the character Miss Marvel. I enjoyed Iman Vellani's portrayal. It was definitely it definitely was a high school show, but I could see where her power and her character is going to be important, I think, later. So that's my 4.25. That's why I gave it that.
Okay, so I will say and I believe we're kind of on the same way we do our scores, but the way I score things specifically is on entertainment value, not necessarily on quality of the show, if that makes any sense. Like I don't really care too much about production value and stuff, just am I enjoying what I'm watching or not? So that's kind of why I gave it a 3 out of 5, is that it was really just the entertainment was not there for me in ways it has been in past shows that I've watched. I will say the diversity and the culture that we got exposed to in this show, it was awesome. It was very important. I did enjoy that aspect. We did see things that we don't normally see in any TV show, but specifically superhero shows. So that was a welcomed thing in the MCU. So I did appreciate that. Other things I liked, obviously, Iman Vellani was fantastic. I liked that they made Kamala a fangirl of the superheroes. Like that's something like if the MCU was a real thing and like the superheroes were a real thing, that would be a very real thing to happen, is that there would be fangirls and things. And eventually someone will become a superhero that was a fangirl. So it was nice that they introduced that little aspect. I liked the art style and the direction choices. Like it was a very visually appealing show. So it was very well made.
Agreed.
And I liked their use of damage control. Like we've gotten little sprinkles of damage control, especially in Spider-Man No Way Home. And actually Homecoming, all the way back in Homecoming, they mentioned damage control, but we really haven't really seen them in action yet. So we finally did get damage control showing up for a pretty significant storyline, especially towards the end of the series. Yeah. And we had spoilers. Yet again, all this is spoilers. At the very end, the last episode, we have a little call out to the fact that she's a mutant. So we have our first mention of
I
mutants
forgot
of
about that.
MCU.
Yes.
They
Yes.
used the M word.
So that was cool. I'm sure, obviously, we'll get more of that later. And like you said, the supportive parents was a nice change of pace. I was, especially the way the series started, it did not seem like they were going to go that direction. It seemed like the mom was very controlling and everything.
Yeah, it was almost a twist. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice that she came around and actually was supportive of her daughter. So that was nice. But so those are the pros. The cons is just the fact that this was not really a show for me. Like, it felt very much like a Disney Channel show. And even growing up, I did not like Disney Channel shows. So like, this is not my type of tone for a show. Not to say that it's bad and other people won't like it. It's just, it was not for me. Not to say that I didn't like the story or anything. It was just the feel of it was just not something that entertained me. The fact that it was kind of the coming of age thing was kind of just, I don't know, did not really hit for me because we've already kind of had the coming of age thing with like Spider-Man. It felt very much like Spider-Man Homecoming, like even just the progression of the character and everything. So it just felt like we have gotten it before. So it just didn't hit for me. It was just like, oh, I feel like I've seen this before. And I feel like towards episodes like 3 and 4 and 5, I was not entertained at all. Like, I was kind of like Josh mentioned in that one episode of Star Trek, where like throughout the rest of the Star Trek Strange New Worlds, he's like glued to the TV, but that one episode he's like scrolling through his phone. Right. I found myself scrolling through my phone a lot during this show.
It drugged towards the middle a little bit.
Yeah.
It started feeling, I know what you mean.
But anyway, so it had a lot of pluses. The character, I love the character. I love the actress. I think the story is going to be very important for the future, and we got a little tease of that with how it's going to tie into Captain Marvel and the upcoming Marvel's movie. Yes. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to see this character grow. But just this origin story, coming of age part of her storyline, just it did not hit for me. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, without trying to rehash what you guys said, I will echo what Corey said, and that is that I just don't feel like I was necessarily the target for this particular show, which we've talked about before is a natural evolution of what they're doing. If they're bringing in more adult content, it only makes sense to balance that out with more content that's geared maybe for a slightly younger audience, which is fine. I don't hold that against them at all. As Jason was saying, it was very much an immersion in a different culture. I would argue, as tactfully as I possibly can, that it was such a complete immersion that it can also feel a little alienating. I think it's only logical to say it made it more difficult for me to connect to the characters, right? And that's fine. They're showing you a different culture. I get that that's the point. But just the flip side of that being, I'm inherently going to feel a break-in period there. And so while the immersion, I'll agree with Jason, is important and the representation is great, I think it does need to be acknowledged that can be slightly off-putting and just make it more difficult to connect to the characters. So I think it'll be more fun once we start integrating her like into the Marvels, for example, where you can see her interacting with a broader variety of people. So I think that would be cool. But like I said, it also made it a little harder to connect, especially at first. That first episode was a deep dive real quick into what that culture can be like. And it was just kind of like, whoa. But my biggest pet peeve actually has to do with Kamala herself, which is not even the actress or the character. Her power lineup is a little different than in the comics.
Yes.
They did have the stretchiness, which in her comics is kind of her primary power. And they kind of, to me, it was just weird. And I get why they're doing it, because they've kind of hinted at where they want this character to go, integrating her with Captain Marvel and stuff like that. But the cosmic powers and stuff like that, the energy powers, that's kind of a pretty big deviation. And normally that sort of thing doesn't bother me. But for some reason, just every time she was doing that, I was just kind of like, it just felt forced. I was just like, why? Like her powers were cool all by themselves.
Yeah, I think it's because the Miss Marvel character is known for the stretchy arms. So the fact that she did not have that specific superpower was kind of weird.
Yeah, we saw it kind of sort of like one time.
Or like in the end, like in the
it was
the large climactic fight.
Yeah, like it was kind of more hinted at. And maybe this will be, part of the whole coming of age thing. It's like she's still learning what her powers are. I don't know. Maybe something happens in the Marvels
like that could be the mutant
some
part
of her cosmic stuff. Yeah. And then she's still left with the mutant stretchiness. So I don't know. Like it's not that it was a bad show. I think I think Corey said it best. I just don't think I was the target audience. I think I'm just a little bit older than maybe how the story was written. And then just the changes to the character made it just a little harder for me. So I'll put it to you this way. I wasn't maybe the biggest fan of her series, but I am excited to see where her character is going. I want her to keep showing up in other properties.
Yeah.
So, and the young lady did do a fantastic job. Like, she was great.
And I will say with this actress, Amon, if you've seen her like doing interviews and like the red carpet stuff for her show, she's a huge fan. Even before she was cast, she was a huge fan of the MCU. So it's actually just been kind of awesome to see like a real life fan join the MCU and become a part of it. Like it's been like she's obviously very much enjoying her time. So
she's living the dream.
Yeah, she really is. So that's really cool for her.
I will say the one thing that I didn't like and I got hung up on was when they were closing the portal to the other dimension.
The Noom.
That they were able to close it just by entering it. When the first person who entered the dimension just died, but the second person who intentionally closed it, I'm like, what? Why? What happened?
You have to have
How did this work?
Heart. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this power.
No, so I mean, okay, no, I mean that's
explain itself to me. I don't know.
Yeah, this is worth pointing out.
Yeah.
It had the same problem as a lot of Marvel properties, which was they just kind of wrapped it up at the end. It ended because it was time for it to end.
Right.
Didn't necessarily even make sense, or there wasn't really a big twist or conclusion, or you know what I mean? It doesn't always feel earned with Marvel. They just wrap it up because it's time to wrap it up. We got 17 more phases to get through. Let's wrap it up.
So we're only on phase 4.
So across the board, averaging everything together, we're giving it a 3.42 out of 5.
That feels fair. Like a 7 out of 10. That feels right.
Yeah.
All right. Moving into The Boys, a completely different show from Miss Marvel in every way possible.
For something really different.
All right. So this was season 3 of The Boys. And for those not familiar, The Boys is based on a comic book. It's all about superheroes, but hunting down the superheroes because superheroes are bad people. And it's very graphic, very mature, about as mature as you can get. There's a reason it's not on Disney.
Shocking. Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever be on Disney.
So let's do the same thing. So let's actually start with scores and go from there. So for season 3 of The Boys, season 3 as a whole, how do we feel about it?
I mean, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Like, it is everything I wanted it to be, from Soldier Boy to the Homelander progression to the ending. Like, it was good. Like, good in that horrible, shocking, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the show and Jason will disagree. It's the show you look forward to being disgusted by. So yeah, I mean, like, it delivered. It was the most boys season of The Boys yet.
I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 for one very specific reason. But Jason, I want to get your score first.
I'm torn.
As a reminder for the audience, Jason is a very good person.
No, stop. No, just stop. Thank you.
You are, though.
No, thanks. Yeah. No, it's just, I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
What?
Okay, that's
because
surprising. That's surprising.
Well, and we'll discuss. But
Okay,
so mine's gonna be 4. I'll give it a 4.
good. Okay, good. So
He
my
approves.
He's like, good. All right, we're good. And
He'll
we're not-
allow it.
so big pros. Obviously, just how they can make very sly references to real life things, like they made Snyder Cut references. They made political references, just all these fun things. Like they rip from the headlines to make fun of things. Like it's a very satirical show at times, and I love that aspect of the show.
And it's worth noting they're equal offenders. They'll make fun of both sides.
Yeah,
and you don't see that all the time. So that's fun.
Yeah, obviously great cast. Like they have people just randomly showing up and doing cameos, but also just the main cast, Carl Urban, all of them. They're fantastic. They always are fantastic. The show, I love that you don't know what's going to happen next. Like it's impossible to predict what's going to happen next because they are known for their shocking moments.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a little bit too shocking. Like they very obviously go for that shock effect. Sometimes, in my opinion, too much. But I know that that's what they're trying to do. So like, I don't take that.
Yeah, it is a purposeful decision. Yeah.
But I will say, well, before I get to my negative thing, another big thing is the character. Like there was a whole lot of character development in this season that we really haven't gotten in the past seasons. Like specifically with Butcher. Like we kind of got his origin story. Like we had some childhood flashbacks to his relationship with his brother and his father that were honestly pretty emotional, pretty traumatizing. So the flashbacks and the character development, even with MM, we saw his PTSD and everything really come to a head. So all of the character development was fantastic. It's one of those shows where it spends so much time doing like these shock moments and everything that when it gets to the character development stuff, it hits really hard. It's kind of like in Scrubs, like that old sitcom Scrubs, where like it's a very comedic show, but then you'll have just random scenes thrown in that are just devastating.
Rip your heart out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's that kind of thing. Like you expect all the shock and humor and graphicness, and then you get random heart-wrenching character development built in. So I like that aspect of it. But my big issue was a story thing. And I loved Jensen Ackles from his Supernatural stuff. So I was highly anticipating his portrayal of Soldier Boy. And he did not disappoint. He was fantastic. But the storyline that went along with him, I hated, because where we ended season 3 was no different than where we started season 3. Like we brought Soldier Boy in to help us take
as
down,
far as he goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we found him frozen in a thing, and we brought him in to take down Homelander. He doesn't take down Homelander, and then he goes right back into the frozen thing. So like, why was Soldier Boy there story wise at all?
To enjoy.
Like there was no
just to give us a reason to enjoy Jensen Ackles.
Like there was a whole lot of character development, but as far as like story progression, I feel like there was nothing. Like we lost some characters, and like the 7, I guess, is the big change, is that the 7 has fallen apart.
Yeah,
like aside from that,
the 2 now.
Yeah, like aside from that, like Homelander, everyone knows that he's like publicly a bad person. Like he kills people just in broad daylight. So like that part is different, but aside from just story progression, taking down Homelander, nothing has changed. So I didn't like that. I just waited a whole season to really see no progression in that.
I'm going to argue that point. Yeah, I'm going to argue that point. Because first off, as far as the Soldier Boy thing goes, yes, 100% agree. Jensen Ackles killed it. I feel like having him refrozen is more of a to be continued as opposed to you know what I'm saying? Because it was the end of the season. You have to wrap up your main storyline, which in this case, your main storyline was Soldier Boy. You either got to wrap it up or kill him. So to me, I think putting him back on ice was setting it up for him to at least be a possibility to come back later.
I mean, yeah, surely. I mean, you're not going to bring Jensen Ackles in for a one trick pony. Like he's gonna he's not. The fact that they didn't kill him obviously opens the door for him to come back. Like I know in like season 2 they brought in, I forget his name. They brought him in to play Lamplighter, I think it was. I forget his name. I love that actor. He co-stars on The Rookie, but I love him. And I was like, oh man, when they announced his appearance in season 2, I was like, yes, he's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to see him on the show. He was there for like one episode and they killed him off.
Yep.
So I was kind of worried that would happen with Jensen Ackles. It did not. So I'm glad they did not kill him off.
Yeah.
And they can bring him back.
Yeah.
But
now, as far as the ending goes, though, I would say that not killing Homelander is actually the huge plot development. Because as you said, that very last scene changes everything about the show. Because their entire thing has been, we're either going to kill Homelander or expose him as a horrible person.
Yeah.
Well, he's exposed himself, and plot twist, people are okay with it.
Yeah. That is
and
true.
So now they have a bigger issue. They can still try to kill Homelander, but there are going to be people who are defending him the entire step of the way. And we cannot underestimate the development of his son fully embracing him as a father figure.
Yeah.
Because now they're already hinting that he's going to be just like his father, because he smiled about his dad lasering the guy's head off too.
That's
so their problems have only gotten bigger, which is good. That's good writing. So, like I said, I thought it was amazing. And we could talk about all the shocking things and everything, but I mean, just from a narrative standpoint, I thought it was wonderful.
There were a bunch of cliffhangery type things, like Butcher. Is he dying?
Yeah.
He might be dying.
He's 100% dying, and he doesn't have long.
So based on what the doctor said, we have one more season.
Yeah.
Unless something dramatic. Yeah.
12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's kind of the beautiful thing about Butcher. He kind of has a John Constantine sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where I feel like there's always a trick up his sleeve to keep that clock ticking just a little bit longer. He'll do something shocking and horrible to keep it going. So, I don't know if I'd count him out yet. But
no, you can't. I do want to bring our attention to something. So Jim Beaver, he is playing the presidential candidate in this show.
I love Jim Beaver. Yeah,
he is famous for his role as Bobby Singer in Supernatural.
Bobby.
Okay, thank you for that. So
that's just what they're all doing.
Did you guys notice that he is also playing Bobby Singer in The Boys?
Yeah, yeah. They didn't even hide it. Yeah,
like
that is his character's name. Yep.
Yeah, that
I did notice that.
That hurt my brain. So it's worth knowing that The Boys is made by
Eric Kripke.
Eric Kripke, who also made Supernatural. So it makes sense.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
So his character does not exist in the comics. He's kind of an amalgamation of a few political figures. And they just kind of rammed them together for ease of storytelling. But yeah, I did notice that as soon as they started ramping up the whole election storyline, I was like, does his bus say Bobby Singer? And then they started calling him Senator Singer. I was like, well, okay, cool. So yeah, no, that was cute. I like that. Jason, I would like to know your feeling. You've been quiet.
Yeah. Well, you guys are not making bad points. I mean, there's a lot of good things about the series, and you guys pointed them out: the character development, the story. Again, I mentioned this last time: the production value. It's good. It's a good series in that regard. It's also very relevant to what's going on in our world in real life. There's a lot of things that they mirror in a satirical way that I'm just like, oh, well, that's this issue. And, oh, that's this issue, that we're dealing with in real life. And I see how that plays out, and I see, who says what and what side of the fence people are on these things. And, and that's noticed. And I like that. I like that it's right up there with all the things that are going through our minds about our day-to-day lives. And like Corey pointed out, there's a lot of throws and references to pop culture. I think they mentioned the Joss Whedon cut, like specifically at one point. The Dawn of the Seven is Justice League.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's Justice League, or Dawn of Justice that's what it is. So there's that. I also got a lot of, like, the entire series felt very heavily influenced by the DC comic and game series Injustice.
Yeah.
And, like, for example, in 2013, they had one of the Injustice #9. They actually had the superhero pill, which would turn anybody who took it immediately into a superhero for several hours so that they can combat people like Superman, stuff like that. So, and you have this same thing in The Boys, which is, you inject it, which is, of course, much more difficult to watch than somebody swallowing a pill. So there's flavors of that too, which I noticed. So ultimately, those are some really, really positive points for me. Jansen Ackles as Soldier Boy, which I knew was supposed to be a direct reflection or antithesis of Captain America, was exactly that. Everything that came out of that man's mouth was just garbage, utter horrible. Everything, like everything he said, I'm just like, Captain America would not say that. Like he kind of like, he disappeared in the 1980s. Like, he's been around since, like the 40s. He did the Captain America thing. He went under ice. No, not because he was being self-sacrificing, but because his teammates hated him and sold him out to the Russians. And so he came back, 30 years later, 40 years later, and he hates what America is now. He hates, like, it anyway. Just everything that comes out of his mouth is just absolute garbage. So, and he plays it well. I mean, I'll give him that. Yeah. He does it really well. So all that's really good. Now, there is no way that it needs to be as graphic and as violent and as sexually explicit as it is. I was thinking about, could they have done this if they did this differently? Would anything have been lost to the story? And the answer is no. And I'm like, they totally could have just alluded to a couple things, maybe done a couple things off screen, tone this down a bit. And I get that that's the comic. I get it. But for me, it was just too much. And that took the whole point away. I just couldn't get it. So it's a good series. It's really well done. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but just because everybody will be offended.
I do want to say one last thing. Give Anthony Starr an Emmy. So Anthony Starr plays Homelander, and my gosh,
he's excellent.
He does a special kind of unhinged.
Yeah.
Like it's especially this season where there were times where you could tell he was barely holding it together. That came across really well. And he's that good kind of actor where it's not even, it's almost what he doesn't do more than what he does. You know what I mean? Like it's not, he doesn't do unhinged by yelling or anything like that. He does unhinged by being quiet.
Yeah, you can see it.
Way scary.
The gears just moving in his head. You could see it in his face.
So no, I know obviously, that's a big shout out to the writing staff as well.
Well, yeah,
but it's well written and incredibly well acted on his part.
It's a good description or a good representation of show don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with him, very good. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so we're giving across the board The Boys Season 3 a 4.33 out of 5. So we really liked it.
Feels right.
If you are up for watching graphic, mature things, we highly recommend it. It is awesome. Just don't watch it with your kids or your parents.
No, don't. Or anybody that you want to like you or anybody that you care about. Just it's best just to like close all the curtains and just watch it and cry in your popcorn and
close all the curtains.
And, right. Just.
All right. So that is it for us on episode 16. It's probably going to be a long one. Obviously, we did not get to our peak geek debate topic for this episode. We had a lot to talk about with Comic-Con. So expect us to get back to our debating on episode 17 airing next week. In the meantime, please, if you like this episode, which how could you not, please share this podcast with your friends and your family and your coworkers and
your pets.
Yeah, they might listen to it. Yeah.
Your cellmates.
Right.
Oh, cellmates.
Your dorm mates, your
mailman.
You can give a shout out to the FedEx guy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, the people who are driving all day, they need stuff to listen to. So
that is true.
Lyft,
that is true.
Uber, DoorDash, Grubhub.
Yeah. When you're in line at the bank, put it on speaker.
Right. Yeah.
Share.
Right. That's right. We are family friendly, so you can share it anywhere, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the boys segment. Just don't do that.
Hey, we weren't graphic the show.
We were not. No. You're right.
We kept it clean, bro. Kept it clean.
We did.
Be sure to come back next week. We'll be talking about something. Who knows?
It'll be episode. Let's see. This was episode 16.
Yes,
we're heading towards the big 2-0.
Right. That's awesome.
How do we celebrate?
I don't know. We'll have to think about. We have 3 episodes.
A 2-hour episode.
That's basically what this one's going to be. Say your thing.
Oh, by Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvin, you shall be avenged.
Take it easy, people.